Yes, guys, and welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV for yet another pre-match pump-up for today's massive Europa Conference League game versus Vitesse Arnhem. It's massive because, we want to keep top of the group. We want to stay top of the group, get it done nice and early. It'll put a nice few points between us. It'll put 4 points between us if we beat them today in the group. They are currently sitting third. As well, it's a great day when we get to see the likes of Gil Messi, Starlet, Mbappe, Stevie B, Giovanni Lo Celso, you know what I mean? Japhet Manhanger, Tanganga. It's a great day when you get to see the likes of these players, the future of Tottenham Hotspur, go out and perform today. Guys, make sure everyone does absolutely obliterate that like button. Make sure, you smash that subscribe button. Like I said, I want to see Ben and Sim so proud of themselves with the kind of pledge, polishing that plaque every day, once they reach the 100k subscribers. And also, guys, feel free to get your super chat in. It is a great way to help support the We Are Tottenham TV boys on their journey. If anyone does want to come on and have their say, guys, the link is up in the community section. Make sure you get yourselves on and come on and have your say. The show is specifically designed for the We Are Tottenham TV army to get ye more involved on match days and get you pumped up. But guys, it is absolutely that time of the week again, where you get the crash helmets out and start running around into things, start ripping up your pillows, you know what I mean? There'll be feathers absolutely everywhere because it is the pre-match pump-up, and this is my job solely is to get you guys absolutely revved up for today's game. I'll just give you a quick rundown of what to expect, of everything you need to know. It is the first meeting ever between these two sides. It is away at the Gelre Dome. It's a nice stadium. It is, of course, sold out with 23,000 people. 731 will be there. Kickoff is at 5:45, guys. I'll be doing the pre-match pump-up till I think it's about 5. And then stay tuned then for Ben and Sim, who will be bringing you the live watch-along all the way through to the post-match fan show where you guys can come on and gloat about how good some of our youngsters really are. Vitesse, they are 6 in the Eredivisie. Their 2 games so far in the Europa Conference League. They beat Mura, Lucas Moura FC 2-0, and they lost to Rennes in the opening game 2-1 in the group. They currently sit third on 3 points. They don't have any Chelsea loanies in the team this time round, which is actually interesting because usually they're stockpiled with it, and they do play a 3-4-3 system. Of course, like I said, Tottenham, we are looking for our 4th win on the bounce after beating Lucas Moura FC, after beating, Aston Villa, after beating Daddy Shake's team, Newcastle. We're looking to win 4 on the bounce. Of course, so far how we're doing in the group, 2-2 versus Rennes away. And then, of course, we slap Moura at home 5-1, where Harry Kane announced himself well and truly back. We are sitting top of the group on 4 points, with Rennes joined second with 4 points also. We are making 11 changes today. None of the starting 11 that played against Newcastle will be taking part, and I didn't even travel today. So a very interesting lineup today. But look, guys, I'd say you're absolutely sick of listening to me. So let's bring on the first guest. And it's a guy that everybody absolutely knows. Everybody absolutely loves. Jack, how are you keeping, my man?
Keeping quite well, David. Keeping quite well, especially, knowing that this is kind of the opportunity for us to see a lot more of those younger players that, we're kind of dying to see, especially the likes of Bill Messi. Of course, we have a few others out there that might be on the bench. Who knows? A Mark Conde might feature, and Alfie Devine might feature. I'd love to go maybe 2-0 up quite early, maybe by halftime, and then we could possibly put on some nice, beautiful starlets out there. And speaking of a starlet, Dave, we all know Dane Scarlett, Dane Mbappe will be out there. And I think with the team that's behind him, with the front 3 that's alongside him, I'd certainly like to think that, he has enough service there. And if he just continues to run through those channels the way that he does, sit on the last man and make those runs in behind, I'd like to think that we might see a goal from Dane Mbappe tonight.
Look, just talking about Dane Scarlett, look, in fairness, he hasn't done too great in Europa League games or in Europa Conference League games. But what I will say is that because we haven't been providing the service. When you look at him, he's making runs and he's getting a tick because the ball's not coming to him when he makes them runs. Now, the thing is, we are a bit further along into the season. A lot of these players are fitter. I think a lot of these players actually know where they stand in terms of Nuno's plans. I'm talking about the likes of Winks and Davies and stuff like that. They firmly know that they are in the second string team at the minute. So hopefully it gives them a bit of a kick up the arse. And that, in terms of giving them a kick up the arse. It means we can start blooding the likes of Scarlett, really start giving him chances, enhance his confidence, because it has been a massive problem at Tottenham over the years, where some of these backup players have not been good enough. So ideally, like we haven't been able to give many youngsters coming through any sort of chance whatsoever, because we're having to end up actually bringing on the likes of a Kane and a Son and everything to sometimes try and salvage these sort of games. Jack, what would you say to the people that that would say he's too young, he needs to be nurtured, he shouldn't be playing in games like this?
I would just say that you can find countless examples across Europe's top 5 leagues of players that have been played at a very, very young age and, have
Mm,
actually taken that opportunity. I'm not saying Dane Scarlett needs to be thrown into, the Premier League game or something like that, but this is the right place, for him to find that bit of confidence, that bit of form to prove why, he's so highly rated. He was highly rated by Jose. He's clearly highly rated by Nuno, since Nuno sees the confidence in him as
mm.
well. Though, we've seen players like at Bayer Leverkusen, Florian Wirtz, he's at a ridiculously young age and playing, constantly. We saw that with Jude Bellingham over at Borussia Dortmund. We just saw that with Gavi the other night, as well, playing for the Spain squad. As you mentioned earlier, Dave, Pedri, of course, we've seen it at Barcelona. Even you also go to Dortmund, look at some of the other players they played before. I think Makoko has played at a ridiculously
Yeah.
young age. And you think about it that way, I mean, if they are ready to step up and if they are ready, to play in these kind of matches where I would say that the opponent, sure, it's probably a decent opponent, but if he has the right players around him, that are good enough players to give him the service, he should be able to step up to it. And I don't think we need to worry about like protecting him or something like that, because I'm just giving classic examples of players that are very, very young that are highly rated across, a lot of people's footballing minds. So when you think about it that way, Dave, maybe it's not too soon, really. There's nothing really too soon, especially if they have the right attitude, the right mentality, and if they want to improve, and I think Dane Scarlett, we've seen that. He picks Harry Kane's brain all the time. He's asking players what he can do better, how he can think, go about things differently. And he's also seems like a very determined guy at the same time as well. And I would just say, when you take all that into account, David, who's to say he couldn't become the next Makoko, Florian Wirtz or whatnot, in terms of just being a very, very, very young talent that, is actually playing almost at a ridiculously high level for a very young age.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more with you. Let's welcome some of the We Are Tottenham TV army. We have Manda Gabby. We have Tom Hiller, Carl Simpson, Derek Hutchinson. We have Alexander Hilton. We have Sam. We have Cyan Watch. We have Kudos. We have Tempest Fight. Paul Mansbridge, Hoiberg, the best PR in London. Killian Kelly, Derek Hutchinson, Smart Donut. Guys, Mickey, five sim as well. Guys, make sure everybody you're all smashing that like button. I'm going to tell you who is not available today out of the backup brigade. It is Matt Doherty and Ryan Sessegnon, still out injured, so they will not be taking part in the backup brigade today. For Vitesse Arnhem, Dan Reisiger, the goalkeeper, is out injured, so it will be a backup goalkeeper. And Usama Tanene, the midfielder, he was suspended for the last time out in the Europa League Conference. He will be back in the team. Jack, another couple of things I want to touch on is look, it's quite clear that that there is a two-tier system. I know Nuno denied it in the press conference yesterday, but anyone in and around football knows that is the case. Is Nuno at risk of upsetting the likes of Harry Winks and Ben Davies and Dele Alli and players like that? Or, is it sort of like smart and that it gives them something, to focus on and maybe realize, oh, hang on, I do want to be in the first 11. I want to push on. And how important is it that these players receive that message and kind of, learn what we need, what Nuno needs, which is to get back to the very best form and provide competition, especially with the hectic fixture schedule we have.
I think it's the right kind of message that you send to these kind of players. Then I think we are mostly kind of talking about the likes of Ben Davies, Harry Winks, Dele Alli, and whatnot. Even to a degree, you might even say Sanchez.
Mm.
Potentially as well. These are players that are not maybe highly rated or don't fall very high in the pecking order. In fact, they fall quite low in that pecking order. And when you think about it that way, you can only receive that two ways, David. Either you receive that as a bit of motivation, even maybe for some of them a bit of disrespect, and they can use that as fuel. They can use that as energy, to try to earn their way back into the first team, to maybe prove something to Nuno. We even saw that with Gio Lo Celso the last time he came up against Mura. Everybody again was talking about the skills, the ability. Gio Lo Celso is not playing in the right position. When you play him in this position, look what happens. We might see that. I mean, I certainly wouldn't say with some of the players I mentioned that we will see it, but we might see that where they actually will take this as a message, as a fuel, as an energy in order to prove something to either the fans, to Nuno, or even just Spurs in general that, you can't, rate me this low. You have to put me higher up in the pecking order. I have to be playing more because this is what I can do. And I would think that Ben Davies, Harry Winks, Dele Alli, they can only receive it two ways. Either they sulk about it and they continue to say that, they deserve better, or they could look at that and realize how far they've fallen and how much, maybe to a degree managers now don't rate them anymore. And when you think about it in that kind of terms, David, there's only two ways of responding to it. Either you use that as energy and use that as motivation, or you don't, and you continue to sulk about not playing, continue to sulk about not being given opportunities. And I think that's two ways to take it. Two ways to take it. It's actually a psychological masterclass, if you ask me, because he simply could just say to them, listen, you're not my plans. I'm not playing you, to a degree, maybe, I don't rate you. But instead, he's probably going about it a different way, which is just saying, listen, you're in my second tier squad, not my first tier squad. Maybe use that as that motivation to get back into the first tier.
And look, what would you say to people that would say that these guys, they don't have a point to prove? They're Tottenham true and true. What would you say to people like that?
I mean, to a degree, I mean, we can't sometimes think about it in that kind of terms because as much as we want to give out handouts, Dave, as much as we want to be kind, and to be, considerate of, the true youth academy prospects, we have youth academy players right now that are dying for that chance. Harry Winks has continued to sit in mediocrity, and I'm probably being nice by using the term mediocrity, because there are players like Alfie Devine that can come through. There are players like Harvey White that can come through. Even we've seen with Skip, now come through and has taken his opportunity and has taken it away from Harry Winks. You could say the same thing with Dele Alli. He has Niall John now who can come through the academy and be able to, prove something and even take, his place in the squad. There are players that are actually ready to take over these homegrown. We have other homegrown players that can step up, even Marcondi to a degree as well. We all know that he can come in and be able to step up and do something for the squad. Pescazzi, we just saw, can easily do something in the squad. There are players that should be looking over their shoulder because as much as we want to continue to try to give the homegrown players, that are in the squad right now, which are, the Dele Allis and the Harry Winkses and the Ben Davies and stuff of the world, not Ben Davies, but you think about it in those kind of terms. I mean, there are players ready to replace them, players that I actually, to a degree, kind of rate and would rather give them opportunities and give them chances to prove us something. Because I feel like with Dele Alli and Harry Winks and whatnot, it's just been too many opportunities, just simply too many. And there are plenty of players that are ready to replace them, especially since our youth academy has been looking quite decent with some of the prospects that we're coming out with.
No, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. But look, on the flip side, look, it's a chance for Dele Alli to prove, fans wrong. It's a chance for Stephen Bergwijn, maybe some fans that are out there that down him, to prove them wrong. Same as Harry Winks, Ben Davies, even Sanchez. It's a chance for all these guys to prove everybody wrong out there. And look, hopefully they can step up, because once they do, it is only better for Tottenham. It's only better for our first team. It's only better for the management and the staff at the club. It's better for everybody involved that they do.
Right.
So look, let's see if they can do it. Let's see if they can do it.
Exactly.
Look, starting lineups, they will be out officially in just over 20 minutes. Jack, and of course, we will be bringing them live here to you straight away. Sometimes we're even on the ball and we get them 5 minutes early. Don't ask how the boys do it. Sometimes that happens. But Jack, do you think there could be any surprises where he maybe doesn't play a Winks and puts in a Niall John or something like that? Do you think there could be, Nuno could spring a surprise like that?
To see Dele Alli not play, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Dele Alli will play just because, unless maybe he kind of throws it kind of a tantrum like he did last time, where he pointed out himself and was saying, "Who, me, for being taken off?" That could be a moment where Nuno is saying, "You can't speak to me that way. You can't think about my decisions that way," and maybe he just throws on a Niall John instead. If I were to be realistic, though, Dave, Pescazzi maybe could be a decent shout. I thought he's looked fantastic every opportunity he was given in the preseason friendlies. We could see him come on. I mean, supposedly Alfie Devine, supposedly, he's available and maybe ready to play. Might see him instead of like a Lo Celso or, a Harry Winks. I think Lo Celso deserves to play and probably should play this match. But maybe instead of Harry Winks, he throws on an Alfie Devine or something like that. As well, we all know that Tanganga. If I mention Pescazzi, Tanganga could then be pushed into center back and maybe play somewhere else. And then Pescazzi can play right back. Maybe we match them with that back three, back five for this match, and that can mean a whole lot more different types of players that could come into this side. And I certainly do mean that. And when you think about it, there are plenty of players. Even Marcondi, maybe, who knows? Marcondi might play, up at some point. But I think the starting lineup, especially the predicted lineup that the We Are Tottenham TV boys have given, I really do see that as being the predicted lineup. I think that's spot on. It's just maybe certain players might be taken off a bit early if they're not doing anything of significance, or let's say we're way ahead and, you got to give the right players the opportunities. But if Dele Alli pulls off another pretty dreadful performance against, like he did against Mura, you could see Niall John come on right in the second half and just see what he can do differently.
Yeah, I agree. But like the thing is with the likes of Winks and Ali and stuff like that, this is where we need them, so that when these youngsters do
Right.
come into the team, that they can come into the team confidence. They know that they have, people there that will look after them, that they can rely on the pitch, and that will give it their all to help them succeed. Look, hopefully Harry Winks, he can take off his Ray Charles glasses and put on the Irish Hotspur glasses, where he can actually see the passes forward. He gets the vision, because right now he is a bit like Ray Charles. You know what I mean? He doesn't know where anybody is on the pitch. He doesn't know where the ball is. And, it's absolutely ridiculous. Guys, if anyone does want to come on and have their say, the link here is in the chat. It's also pinned in the chat as well for everybody who does want to come on and have their say. Just simply click it, come on, and, we'll get you through. If anyone is nervous, don't worry. I will get you through it. Do not worry about that, But Jack, another player, I'm going to keep parroting him every time he gets a goal, is Gil Messi. When I saw his face, I said, I'm a believer. I just know I know this guy is going to go on and do big things. I cannot wait for him to play today. Do you think he plays in the cam role, or do you think he plays on one of the wings with Bergwijn on the other?
See, that's where maybe you could see maybe a different lineup. That's a very good shout, Dave, because a lot of people, we've mostly seen Hill play on the left, or we've seen him kind of play in the middle, kind of drift into the middle even. You go two ways about it. The front three, if you went for Dane Scarlett up top, Bergwijn playing in his true position, which a lot of people believe is his best position, and I've been kind of convinced by that, is left wing. So I feel like we probably will play Bergwijn in that left wing. And maybe try to move Hill Messi out right and play him on the right wing and be that inverted left winger that can cut inside. Again, I'd love to see him kind of do exactly what Lucas does. Lucas drifts into the middle all the time and finds ways to do it on his right foot. Why can't Hill do it on his left foot? I mean, it's actually even more natural for a left-footed player to be able to do it when you think about it that way. I see that being actually a huge sense of success. And maybe we still play Dele Alli through the middle. Again, I do not want to see Dele Alli played out wide ever again. And so maybe we just play Dele Alli in his true role, which is behind the striker as a number 10. And then from there, we can play someone like Brian Hill outright. Maybe Steven Bergwijn moves to the right. That could potentially happen. I would say Stevie's just not so good out there. He's much better at the left wing position. I say we just play two inverted wingers and we go for Brian Hill to maybe do exactly what Lucas does, which is kind of drift into the middle anyway and create things from there. And I think Brian Hill would actually have no problem with that when you think about it. I think he'd probably actually be delighted by that. And as a bit of scouting report on it as well, his last few games for Ibar, even though a lot of people know that he played mostly out wide on the left, his last few games for Ibar from last season, you can go check on it. He was actually playing out right a lot, and he was playing that right wing kind of inverted kind of position, just like Lucas does for us. So I think that could plenty happen. And maybe we'd like to see him play it down the middle, but I think with Dele Alli likely playing, we're most likely not going to see that. But at the same time, and I'll say it again, he can drift inside and he can do exactly what Lucas does, because Lucas loves to drift into the middle and find spots and pockets there. So I could not see, Hill could do the exact same thing.
Do you know what, Jack? I just get this feeling that Gil is going to be our best player tonight. I think he will get man of the match. Honestly, I think he could even score tonight. If not, he's going to definitely have a hand in some of the goals that we will get. And look, I just encourage everyone to get down to the bookies and get an assist, a fiver on an assist for Brian Gil Messi. Look, I just think tonight would be the night where he kind of turns from a boy to a man and he kind of announced himself at Tottenham Hotspur. I just get that sense, that feeling. And look, I was right with the Harry Kane one last week, so maybe I'm just getting another one of these telepathic feelings. Honestly, I love the guy that much. I'm thinking about getting my hair done like his. I'll be honest with you. Me and Gil Messi maybe could form the Beatles. But Jack, another player you touched on is Stevie B. Absolutely got to love his celebration. With Stevie B, look, it's his first start since August. What do you want to see from Stevie B tonight?
I want to see him basically build on the form that we maybe saw before he got injured, Dave, because I actually thought that he was actually in fantastic form to a degree. He didn't really have a goal and an assist, when you think about it, but he was actually playing very, very well, out wide. And that was when we were playing Sonny through the middle. Of course, DBB was being played in, like I said, his best position, which apparently is out at the left wing.
Yeah.
I think that could be his best position, and we're going to be seeing that likely tonight. That means it's all set up for Stevie B to do quite well away from home as well. In his home country, he might actually have a bit of a rivalry, who knows, from his PSV days, against Vitesse or something like that. And maybe he'll use this as an opportunity to also maybe prove some of the, home fans of Vitesse, this is why I made my move to the Premier League. Don't ever doubt me kind of situation. I think it's all kind of set up for him to have a great game. But I would argue, as much as I've been a bit of a Stevie B doubter, Dave, I think he actually had fantastic form going into this season before he got hurt. And I would like to see him build on that form. And hopefully this injury wasn't too much of a hindrance, to his ability, to him to be able to do some of those skills and techers that he was pulling off, against the likes of Wolves and Watford and other teams. So I'd like to think, David, that this is all set up for Stevie B to have a fantastic performance. If anybody, maybe scored, Dave, you could also maybe put a fiver on Stevie B as well, because I think he's going to have to create a lot. He's also going to have to drive at that defense, especially if we have lots of the ball. He's going to have to find ways to be creative and also even be on the score sheet as well, because at the end of the day, we need Stevie B to be on the score sheet. We need him to be on the score sheet. He hasn't done anything in terms of actual productivity, just numbers, assists, goals. We haven't seen him very much in 3 years. So I would like to think, though, that he's just going to build on that form, from the beginning of the season, where I did think he actually looked quite good.
Yeah, and look, hopefully he can, because he was starting to look good. He's a sort of player, anytime he starts to get a bit of confidence at Tottenham, he does get an injury, in fairness to the lad. And look, hopefully tonight, going back home, playing in Holland, it's close to home. Hopefully he'll be up for it. He will want to put on a show for his family and his friends back there, and hopefully he can turn up. Hopefully he can really, set this place alight tonight, because, look, if we are going to get a result, he has to be a massive part of it. He has to. It's that simple. And look, I hope he can come back after his long injury layoff. Like I said, first time he's playing since August against Watford. And look, hopefully he can step up tonight. I really do hope he can, because we do need him. We need him. He provides good competition for the first team alongside Lucas Moura. So, look, I really do hope he can step up. It's absolutely crucial. I do think the guy steps up, to be
And
honest.
if we're playing that all white kit that we've been doing before, in the Europa Conference League games, David, we saw it against Rennes. We used that all white kit. I think if Vitesse were to go with that black and yellow kind of jersey, Stevie B, if I remember correctly, against Rennes, he looked fantastic with the short socks and everything. He just looked majestic in that kit. And I'd like to see him actually look majestic on the pitch as well. And then also, I think even in that Rennes match, even though he got injured quite early, again, though, was looking quite great, and he was looking very, very solid. And I just think it was just unfortunate he picked up that injury. And I'll ram it home again. I think he can build on that performance and build on the form that he had. It's just, how does he rekindle it? And maybe this is the best opportunity to do so. I feel like it's all set up for him to rekindle some of that form.
No, 100%. I couldn't agree more. And look, they are, of course, we do expect them to play in their horrible yellow and black jerseys. Honestly, it's like going into the Hornets' nest, Jack. I'm expecting 11 bumblebees running around the pitch trying to sting us. Absolutely ridiculous. Hopefully, we just bring in a bunch of beekeepers. Of course, they wear white. Tottenham wear white. We're the beekeepers tonight. We're going to go in. We're going to trap them all, put them in their place. And, of course, we're going to produce some honey, which is the goals. That's exactly what I want to see tonight. Some nice bit of honey from these Tottenham players against the bees, the bumblebees. Absolutely ridiculous. Grown men running around dressed as bumblebees. Someone needs to tell Vitesse Arnhem that is not fancy dress. It's not a night on the town with the boys.
No.
It is actually a soccer match. So stop with this fancy dress nonsense. Jack, what would you say to people that, we should have brought a Kane, we should have brought a Son on the bench? Do you agree with Nuno that he is resting these players for Sunday? Or do you think he should have brought them on the bench just for, a bit of safe housekeeping, shall we say?
I feel like if he is using this opportunity to really prepare them for West Ham, which will be a very, very tough fixture, as well as the fact that we are sitting in fifth, tied with, Brighton as well, for the fourth place position. You think about it that way, they have to be preparing at home for that fixture. This fixture is quite secondary to that West Ham match. I think there's no other way of thinking about it. We need to win this match. We need to prove something, in the Europa Conference League as well. Give us that assurance that if we do win this one, we'll be able to, be out of the group stages. We don't have to really worry about the competition anymore. I would say that, of course, there could be that reasoning to, take Kane and Sonny with you, but we've done that too many times before where we've had to rely on them to pull out performances. And I've said this before, Dave, but if we're relying on Sonny and Kane to drag us through these performances, that says a whole lot about players like Gio Lo Celso,
Yeah.
like Dele Alli, like even Steven Bergwijn and such, because they should be good enough to be able to at least produce something in matches like this. If they end up not pulling off anything or doing anything, just says so much about their quality. It really shows to me that they really are not good enough to be wearing this shirt, because we don't need to rely on Højbjerg and Skippy and Harry Kane and Sonny for these kind of matches, because I know maybe Vitesse is going to be a strong, kind of a challenge, to a degree, but it just seems kind of ridiculous to play some of these guys every single match and rely on them every single match, Dave. I mean, it's almost abuse, I would say, to rely on them that much. It's just it's not fair to them to have to clean up the dirty work of, Harry Winks and whatnot. I certainly feel like it just says a lot about the quality of these players that will be playing tonight. If they can't do it against Vitesse away from home, as much as I do think Vitesse will be a strong challenge, if they can't do it away from home, just says a whole lot about them. It doesn't say anything about Nuno. It doesn't say anything about Harry Kane or Sonny. It says a whole lot about these other players that they can't be able to stand up to this sort of test, because this is the reason why we are paying etc. these guys 80 grand, 90 grand, 100 grand a week, because they should be able to perform against these kind of teams and be able to produce something. I mean, it just seems kind of crazy to have to rely on players like Højbjerg, Kane, and Sonny for
Yeah.
these matches. I think it's actually abuse, to a degree, to rely on them that much. And maybe on top of it as well, you just could argue that, maybe that front three of that front three of Hill, Starlet, as well as Dele Alli, and as well as Stevie B, that should be good enough, Dave. That really should be good enough. If that's not good enough, I don't really know what is, because then we're just going to have to play Son and Kane in every single match, and we know that's not realistic.
Well, I do have the lineups here. If this is correct, it's from the Europa Conference League site. I believe it is Galini in goals. Sanchez is to start. Roden is to start. Tanganga is starting, and Ben Davies is starting. So that forms your defence. Harry Winks is in midfield alongside Lo Celso, with Ali, Bergwijn, and Brian Hill forming that three, with Dane Scarlett up top. So there is the starting lineups for everybody. I'll go through that one more time. Galini in goals. Japhet Tanganga at right back. Joe Roden at centre back alongside Davison Sanchez. Ben Davies at left back. Harry Winks in centre midfield along with Lo Celso. Dele Alli, Brian Hill, and Stevie B and Dane Scarlett form the attacking quartet. So let's see what we can do tonight. It's a pretty strong lineup, Jack. I actually think we got our ones pretty spot on. I think this is exactly what we predicted. So I'm happy with that, I have to say. And look, surely it's enough to get the job done, Jack.
This is what I've been referencing. I guess, I was using our predicted lineup, Dave, as the logic. And again, everybody, just look at that front three, that front four: Dele Alli, Dane Scarlett, Stevie B, and Brian Hill. And then also Gio Lo Celso as well, there to help at times. That should be good enough. That really should be good enough. And then as well, the back four, it's actually a back four that probably won't get too far forward. Maybe that might hurt us to a degree, but at the same time, that should mean that we probably shouldn't concede, because we do have maybe very defensively minded fullbacks, very defensively minded center backs. I'd like to think, Dave, that this is supposed to be, a very strong lineup. Again, if it's not Son and Kane missing, and all of a sudden that means it's not a strong lineup, it just says so much about the squad depth. It says a lot about how we actually rate these players. Because again, if we really think that maybe Stevie B, Gio Lo Celso, and Brian Hill and whatnot, and Dele Alli especially, if we don't think that they're good enough or even strong enough to do this on their own without maybe the, Papa Kane and Papa Sonny, I would say, it just says so much about the quality of those players. It really does, because I don't need Højbjerg and Son and Kane to do their babysitting anymore, Dave. I really don't want them to do their babysitting anymore and have to nurse these results. It really just, I feel like it should be strong enough, and it has to be strong enough, because if it isn't strong enough, Dave, again, it says a whole lot about these players. It doesn't say anything about Nuno.
It should be strong enough. Look, you're looking at Joe Roden, Ben Davies, Welsh internationals, Davison Sanchez, Colombian international, Harry Winks, England international, Lo Celso, Argentinian international, Dele Alli, English international. Steven Bergwijn, English international, or Dutch international. So you're talking, what, Dane Scarlett, Japhet Tanganga, and Galini. The rest of them are all fully fledged international players. Brian Hill as well. But Brian Hill, Tanganga, they have played underage level. Dane Scarlett is playing the underage level for England. You know, so the thing is, it should be more than good enough to get the job done here. I wonder how many internationals Vitesse have playing tonight. I know they have a guy up front called Friedrichsen that they bought from Juve. Look, he's handy enough, but he's nothing special. This team should do more. If this team doesn't win tonight, right, honestly, Ray Charles has more chances getting laid than Tottenham winning a trophy. That is the living truth of it. If we don't win tonight, because it should be more than good enough. And believe me, I'll be absolutely fuming if we don't get the job done. We should. Look, they owe us. They owe us after the Pacos result. But look, Jacko, you know, before we do let you go, my man, you know, I want the loudest. Actually, first of all, I want you to get everyone pumped up. I want you to tell everyone, you know, why they should be expecting 3 points today. And then, honestly, I want the whole of Brooklyn, you know, to be standing outside tonight in a lynch mob saying, get Jack out because you're too loud. I want the biggest, loudest come on you Spurs I've ever heard.
The pump-up line, Dave, is Dane Scarlett scoring tonight. He's got, you know, he's going to be running through the channels. He's getting that service from Dele Alli, Gio, Brian Hill, Stevie B. That's all I'm going to say is Dane Scarlett, you heard it here first. He's scoring tonight. He's getting that Europa Conference League goal. And here it goes, Dave. Come on, you Spurs!
Absolutely love it. Voice of an angel. Jack should be going for X Factor. Thank you. Before you go, actually, score prediction, man.
Oh, yeah, Dave. I'll go 3-1. That seems to be the common one, but I'd be absolutely livid if we conceded. I really would. I'd be livid. So I want to say 3-0, but I feel like that's the kiss of death. So I'll just say 3-1 with what everyone else is predicting. So I'm going to do that. And yeah, thank you, David. It's honestly a pleasure as always.
No, absolutely love it, Jack. Thanks very much for your time, man. And go off, and I'll see you soon.
Appreciate you. Catch you soon.
Everybody get off the Flat Cap Your Thought. Check out the home of Jack Kanicki, guys. Absolutely brilliant channel. He does all the scout reports and all the players that Tottenham are linked with. So do get over there and check it out. But look, let's keep plowing along. Let's bring on the next guest. You know, he's a channel regular. He's always on, whether it's on the pre-match pump-ups or whether it's on the fan shows with Ben and Sim. It's Phil Lettice. Well, I dubbed him Phil Lettice because I do think he looks a bit like Matt Letizia. Everyone else in the comments, do let us know if you think the same. You know, honestly, when I first seen him, I was like, what's Matt Letizia doing on? Jeez, the boy's fair play. And then it's a guy called Phil, and I'm like, oh man, you know, he could be going around doing a doppelganger. You know, when Matt Letizia is sick on Sky, you know, Phil can come on and fill in for him. But Phil, my man, you know, today, absolutely buzzing. No better day to be alive when Tottenham are playing. I always maintain this, even if it is a second string team. Are you excited?
Yeah. Finished work now, so obviously just jumping on the call, and you know, yeah, Tottenham are playing in less than an hour. Team looks all right, not too bad. I think you've covered a lot of what I was sort of thinking. It says more about them if we don't do something tonight. Yeah. But I'm pleased Dane Scarlett's got 3 decent players behind him that can put him in. You know, can give him those chances, because I'm hoping he's going to, you know, have a great game, get a goal, but just really build his confidence, because he's, you know, we forget, we think, you know, he's second to Harry Kane, one of the world's best, and the kid's 17. You know, he's like wet behind the ears, but he's only going to get experience by playing in games like this. It's just, honestly, I think it's a brave decision, but a real good decision from Nuno.
Yeah, and I'll get onto it now in a second. Just tell everybody the subs bench today. It is Austin in goals, Brandon Austin, Lyons Foster, Cisse, Fagan Walcott, Matthew Craig and his other brother, Craig, Michael Craig. The 2 brothers are there, the 2 twins, the Craig twins. The Cray twins, that's what I'm going to nickname them, the Cray twins. There you have it, guys. So the Cray twins are on the bench. You have Harvey Don White. You have Niall John. You have Jack Clark. There's a blast. Now, let's see if he gets a game today. And, of course, McCandy. I think McCandy definitely deserves a chance off the bench. I'd like to see maybe one of John or White come off the bench as well, if not both. And, look, the Cray twins, if we need so, let's send them out there and ruffle a few feathers up. I'll just run through the starting lineup again. It is Rap God Galini, Japhet Manhandler Tanganga, Davison, absolute ping pass Sanchez, Joe Rodin, the mighty Rodin, Joe Rodent. We have Mr. Anonymous at left back, Harry Stinks in midfield, We have Giovanni Lo Celso in the middle. We have Dele Marley. We have Stevie B. We have Brian Gil-Messi and Starlet Mbappe up front. So a good lineup. But look, back onto Mbappe. Look, do you know what? I feel sorry for him because of some of the players he was thrown in with against the Packers game and how bad it really was. Well, like, you know, if you're a striker and you're seeing Winks, Davies and Doherty pass it between them for 20 minutes, you're going to be absolutely fucked off. You would be. You know, you're making runs, it's not coming. I'm absolutely delighted to see Nuno have the faith and confidence in him and keep persisting with this guy, keep giving him the chances, because it's been proven preseason. You put the ball in behind, the guy will finish it. He's a great finisher. He makes good runs as well, and he's only going to go and get better. And look, I'm delighted. Obviously, we're not risking Kane or Son to play up there tonight, but with Scarlett, I think literally it's just a matter of putting the right people in around him. Gil will find him. Hopefully, Dele Alli will be able to find him. Bergwijn should be putting chances on the plate for him tonight. It's only Vitesse aren't him. They are crap. In terms of European football, they are absolutely crap. They're dressed like 11 bumblebees going on a Leicester City night out to wherever they go in fancy dress. Absolutely ridiculous. Look, I'm a big believer in Mbappe. Do you think tonight could be the night where he comes alive, Phil?
Yeah, I do. I think he's got, because if you look at Stevie B, he's quite an unselfish player, isn't he? He doesn't like to take a shot on, so he's going to be looking out. You wonder whether the front four of them amongst themselves are going to be thinking, let's bed him in, let's do what we can. You know, hopefully we go out, we get a couple of early goals, and then we're able to knock it around, but give him some chances that gets him off and running, because I tell you what, he's some talent, isn't he? You know, 3 or 4 years, we're going to be looking back going, God, do you remember his game when he came on against Vitesse and got
like what we do with Harry Kane?
Yeah.
You know, I remember Kane's first goal against Shamrock Rovers. Everybody has to start somewhere, you know?
Yeah. But, a goal's a goal, whether it's Shamrock Rovers or in the Champions League final against Barca, there is still just one goal. But I'm so pleased for him tonight. I can't wait to see how he goes with a good set of people behind him, because last time when he had the run out at the lane, they were just mucking around. It was like there was nothing. They didn't set him up well. Not at all. And then they changed the front three, brought Kane on. Within like 5 minutes, Kane's had a couple of chances and taken them. If they'd left Scarlett on, I honestly believe he would have had a couple themselves then. But I kind of guess why he did that. But tonight's just about, again, a bit like Sunday, it's about those 11 going out. Is, you know, full of internationals. Okay, our back four, we don't look at it as the strongest ever, but still 3 of them are internationals, you know, and it's like, yeah, I think it'll be a good one for tonight, and can't wait for it to start.
No, same here. I definitely can't. You know, look, it's more so the likes of Gil-Messi, Scarlett, Japhet Tanganga, Roden, you know, and Lo Celso, they're the sort of players I'm looking forward to tonight. Look, and Lo Celso, another player, let's touch on it. Look, Phil, I watched him for Argentina. He's unbelievable, you know? And I do notice, like, look, Argentina, they do play him a bit differently. They also get a lot of bodies in and around them. It's a lot of short passing. Why can't he replicate that at Tottenham Hotspur? Is it due to just bad injuries, bad timing? Is it due to lack of confidence? What do you think it is, Phil?
You know, you look at the confidence. You know, if he's got bad confidence in his club form, surely when he goes away to Argentina, it's still there, or it's still in the back of his mind. It's like, oh, well, it didn't have a good game last week. So I just can't see it being down to that. And again, if you talk about great players, they rise to the occasion, don't they? So I don't know. I don't know whether it's, you know, he's slightly played out of position. I mean, again, even tonight, he could be classed as out of position, which means he might swap with Dele. There might be that kind of interaction between them. But genuinely, I was really chuffed when we signed him. But 2 years on, and he hasn't really consistently delivered it. And we saw Sunday that Tanguy stepped up. So, you know, Sunday, Tanguy's starting ahead of him, you know, whatever happens tonight. But he's just got to keep going and try and get that Argentinian form into his club form, because we need those kind of players.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Look, I'm still waiting for Lo Celso to enter the party. The only memory I have of Lo Celso so far is running the ball out of the pitch against Leeds United like he was playing rugby. That really got to me. So hopefully he can step up. Another player is Japhet Tanganga. This guy I feel sorry for, right? He had an incredible rise getting into the team debut against Liverpool, played well, played a couple of games, injuries happen. This season, gets back into the team, has a good run of games, and then obviously the sending off and that, but now he finds himself out of the team. If you're Japhet, what do you do right now? Do you just keep plugging away, knowing that your chance will come, or what would you do, Phil?
I think that's all he can do. He's obviously a better defender probably than Royale, but Royale probably gives you more because he's got some going forward. But I think he's got to bide his time. He's got to do what he does best and just be consistent and drop himself into a place where he becomes undroppable. But I think obviously they're going to rotate the fullbacks all the time. So he's just got to make sure that he stays ahead of Doherty, which, let's face it, he's ahead of an international, which we'd all say is not hard, but he's making progress, isn't he? So
Do you think that he could get into that first 11, maybe in Dyer's place? Do you think maybe he could have his eyes on that? Do you think that's a possibility?
I think longer term, I honestly sit here and I obviously listen to a lot of the shows and stuff, and it's like, is he a right back? Is he a centre back? I don't know, but again, it's like, if you're going to give him a run with somebody like Romero next to you, who's going to coach him and keep him calm and stuff, maybe, just maybe, that might do it, because he's certainly up for a fight. He doesn't take any nonsense, does he? He's going to go and win the ball, whether he just needs to sort of, curb that a little bit so he's not giving away lots of little fouls and stuff. But there's such a good player in there, and he's a Tottenham boy, isn't he? So he's like, for us as a fan, it's like, come on, bring it.
Do you know what? I'd love nothing better to see him put in a performance tonight and start against the Pikey boys on Sunday, aka West Ham. I really would. Honestly, 11 Barney the Dinosaurs, coming out to full-grown men, 40-plus, blowing bubbles. Absolutely ridiculous carry on there at the weekend. So that's definitely... Guys, make sure you do tune in for that pre-match pump-up. That's going to be a fun one, taking the piss out of them Pikey boys. But look, Phil, back to today's game. Are you worried that all these changes, bringing the youth on the bench as well, do you reckon that there is a fear that we could come unstuck tonight?
But I suppose the problem is they may not be match ready, but surely they've been training together. They all basically work in the same place, so they must be doing the different formations and playing stuff. And these players are not just running the mill; they're your top players, or the majority of them. They're top players who should be able to accommodate, a young, inexperienced striker or a new midfielder coming in off the bench and stuff. So I think it's up to your experience. So like your wings and Lo Celso and Dele Alli to be, kind of arm round them, but to set the scene. So like we said Sunday, when they go out tonight, it's starting, fifth gear, straight on it, not let's wait, let's maybe go one down before we decide we're going to start sort of playing well. You've got to do it from the off. And like I say, just set the scene so that the kids are like, yeah, these players have got my back here, looking forward, going forward, solid. That's what we need to be.
No, look, I agree. Look, they need to step up. Look, the party for them blowing bubble mugs at the weekend starts today with a victory. In fact, we should actually be thanking UEFA for giving us a nice little easy tee up. We win this, and then we go into the big party at the weekend where we beat the Pikey boys, the blowing bubble mugs, as Kerr likes to call them in the chat there. 11 grown men dressed up as Barney the Dinosaur running around the pitch. That's the party. So it all starts today. I do encourage everybody, make sure you get the beers out, ring in sick to work tomorrow, and then roll into the weekend. It's one big party, a 4-day-long party, and we're going to end it, at the Olympic Stadium, where you might actually see Usain Bolt win a gold while you're actually watching the game, believe it or not. But look, Phil, why don't you give everybody a bit of a line? Why don't you get them pumped up?
Right. Well, this is our Tottenham team. It's the up-and-coming boys. We're going out there. This is another stage in the journey. We're going to build the momentum. We're going to take the victory, and we're going to bring Dane Scarlett on and he's going to score. And it's going to be, you want to be there when you say, I saw his first European goal, because it's coming tonight.
Oh, absolutely love it. No, 100%. You know, I want to be there in 5 years' time when he's one of the best players in the world. Like you were saying, you know, we saw his first goal. Philip, you know, another couple of minutes until we're ending off. Do you think it's a good position to be in? Look, a lot of people complain about squad depth and stuff like that, and I do agree with it. Look, we should have another backup striker. I'd like another midfield option. I'd probably like another winger option. But are you actually surprised with the squad that we have, that we can actually put out just a whole new 11?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we got to the end on Sunday, and you're like, he hasn't made any subs. So when we played Newcastle, you're like, surely none of these 11, if they've played the full 90 minutes, none of them are going. And then I sat there and I'm like, right, who would be your best 11 if everyone's fit? And you look at it, and it probably is. There's probably still 2 or 3 positions that you'd love somebody better. But my problem is, I suppose it's almost a reserve side, top 6 side. It's not a top 4 or a championship winning side, and that would be my concern. Like you say, if we lose Kane at the beginning of December, we're all looking around going, what happens? Where do we go with it? But you know, there's more work to do. You know, there's a lot of talk today about people coming through for January, but I would say we're in a good place, not in a brilliant place, and that's where we need to get to. And hopefully, you know, that will be coming through. But
I'd agree with that. First of all, Phil, I hope Kane doesn't go get injured at that in December. Oh. We're absolutely piled up and backlogged from the 2nd to the 19th. We're playing every 3 or 4 days.
I've seen that. It's horrendous, isn't it?
17 days, you know. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely madness that December. So we need all hands to the pump. But even more of a reason why these players need to step up today, you know, because we're going to need to be calling on everybody in that December period. And we need everybody fit, firing, confident, you know, going into that period. So, look, before I let you go, Phil, something I do want to touch on. It's something that's kind of bugging me and winding me up today. It's the whole thing about Real Madrid maybe, you know, coming back for Reguilon and triggering that buyback clause. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, my first thought would be, you know, apparently they're cash strapped, but they were able to spend all that money on Mbappe. You've got to look at Reguilon on, again, going back to Sunday. You know, he was a standout player. He was great ambassador for the club. When the goals went in, he was one of the first ones there. So he does look very happy. And, you know, you would hope that he's going to look at it and go, maybe I'll go to Real Madrid one day. But at the moment, I'm going to play every big game here at Tottenham, up and coming. Whereas if I go back to Real Madrid, I'm kind of a bit part player, because they've still got Mendy, Marcelo's still there. Is he really going to want to do that? So that's going to be down to him. But obviously, price wise, there's no negotiation on that, is it? The price is set. So, you know, if they meet that figure, then it's there. I think the thought was always that Sessegnon would have stepped in, but I see today he's out even longer now with injury, and that's just a big problem. And I know when we look at our depth, because I would love to have seen him tonight rather than Ben Davies, but again, nowhere to be seen, injured again. It's very much like Bale when he started, wasn't it? Oh, I think you're on mute, Dave.
Yeah, sorry. I put myself on mute while I was coughing. Yeah, look, this is why I encourage, look, there's over 400 people watching right now. This is why I encourage every single one of you, use your social media platform at Reguilon, show them the love, tell them how much you love them, you know, how much you want them to stay. Because at the end of the day, they can put back all the buyback clause they want. The decision lies on him whether he wants to go back or not. So, look, you know, hopefully if us fans can play our part and, you know, show them the love all over social media, and hopefully persuade him to stay. But look, Phil, what's your score prediction for today's game?
Unfortunately, I think we'll concede. So I'm going to go 2-1 tonight. I think it will be comfortable, but I still think that we're going to have that momentary lapse of concentration. I think they'll slot one, but I'm very confident that we're going to do it. And I'm pleased to be able to say I've seen Dane's first goal. Come on.
No, 100%. I can't wait for it. You know, look, I'm going to let you go. You can get them beers into the fridge, you know, get them nice and cool for kickoff. I'd say they're already in there, to be fair. I'd say you stopped in on your way home from work. But look, you enjoy the game, my man. But before I let you go, I want you to scream the house down, my man. Give me a song, give me a chant, whatever it may be.
Oh, I'll have to wait for Mr. McLeod for the songs, but come on, Spurs. Let's do it.
Come on. Guys, Phil is absolutely pumped. You should be too. Big up, Phil. Really appreciate you coming on, my man. Brains McLeod, if you are watching, you've let me down, man. You're supposed to come on with all the pre-match pump-ups with a song. So, Brains, you know, I want to see you back here for the Spanners on Sunday with a song for us all, if you are watching, Brains. But I've sent the call out there. Look, you know, today it's a massive game. We can take control of the group if we win it, which is what we want to do. Look, it's a good chance to see all the backup brigade, the youngsters. Let's hope they can put in one cohesive performance, blow Vitesse Arnhem away, and absolutely take control of this group. Win the next game, we're out. It's that simple. So now's the time to muck in and get the job done, and hopefully these guys can do it. I hear a lot of people saying, where can I watch the game? Well, no need. Just literally put on We Are Tottenham TV, Ben and Sim. They will give you all the commentary, all the analysis you guys need for the watch along. Even if you do want to put on the game, turn off the commentary and put the boys on. You know, so many people are doing it now. It's the new trend. It's the new thing to do. Make sure you get it done. Everybody, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. And let me tell you why. Where else do you get absolutely amazing graphics like this? You know, absolutely unbelievable. It is the best channel on YouTube, the best channel for Spurs content as well. So make sure you do smash that bell button, that notification button as well. You know, so you get notified when all the shows are put out. You will literally be notified, and you can just click on, so you will never ever miss a show. Look, I'm going to leave everybody maybe with a little song just to get them maybe pumped up a little. You know, hopefully. But look, it's, you know, we sang in Spain, or we sang it in France, and we sang it in Spain. We sang it in the sun, and we sang it in the rain. They tried to stop us, but all it did, the thing I love most is being a yid, being a yid, being a yid. The thing I love most is being a yid. And as always, guys, I'll see you all again very, very soon. Stay tuned for the pump up with Ben and Sim. We're going to absolutely smash Vitesse Arnhem 3-0. As always, I love being a Yid. I know you do too. Come on, you Spurs.